In this series, I'm basically just going to be reading high fantasy books. I got sidetracked by some arcs. I can see a little bit of a budding romance between them, and I just wasn't feeling it. I was so bored. Why should I have to be humble when I am just as smart, if not smarter than a lot of my peers? I'm scared, I'm a bit nervous, but I'm also very excited. Like, that was a great last chapter, it really was. But like, hi fairies, welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Fifi. It's so nice to have you here. I hope you stay a while. Today we are going to be progressing with a mini series that I kind of started on my channel last year. In this series, I'm basically just going to be reading high fantasy books because I really have been meaning to explore and read more high fantasy books. I have only made one other video for this little series, and in that video I read Threads of the Emerald Sea. I loved that book. I gave it 5 stars. In this video though, we are going to be reading Bloodoverbrighthaven by M.L. Wong. M.L. Wong is a very interesting author to me because I really have heard so much about their discography and I've heard great things about their books. I did start one of their books last year, Theonite. I got about 20% into it and I just wasn't feeling it. I was so bored. So I kept it to the side. I think I will eventually get back to it at some point in my life, not right now though. That book and that series though is one of Wong's lesser known books and lesser talked about books. This book, Blood Over Brighthaven though, is like one of their most appreciated, hyped, talked about books aside from Sword of Kaigan, which is another book that I really want to read at some point. I'm just going to read you the synopsis of this book. I have it propped up right here. Magic has made the city of Tehran an industrial utopia, but magic has a cost and the collectors have come calling. An orphan since the age of 4, Siona has always had more to prove than her fellow students. For 20 years, she has devoted every waking moment to the study of magic, fueled by a mad desire to achieve the impossible, to be the first woman ever admitted into the high magistry. When she finally claws her way up the ranks to become a high mage, however, she finds that her challenges have just begun. Her new colleagues will stop at nothing to let her know that she is unwelcome, beginning with giving her a janitor instead of a qualified lab assistant. What neither Siona nor her peers realize is that her taciturn assistant was once more than a janitor. Before he mopped floors for the mages, Thormil was a nomadic hunter from beyond Tehran's magical barrier. 10 years have passed since he survived the perilous crossing that killed his family, but working for a high mage, he sees the opportunity to finally understand the forces that decimated his tribe, drove him from his homeland, and keep the Tyrannish in power. Through their factitious relationship, mage and outsider uncover an ancient secret that could change the course of magic forever if it doesn't get them killed first. Siona has defined her life by the pursuit of truth, but how much is one truth worth with the fate of civilization in the balance? This is a standalone dark academia brimming with mystery, tragedy, and the damning echoes of the past. Okay, like I'm sad. That was a very detailed synopsis that gives us a lot but doesn't, fully divulge the entire story. So I'm very, very intrigued. Like I said, I've heard amazing things about this book. I've heard that it tackles a lot of themes, societal and political themes. So I'm very eager to dive into it and form my own thoughts and opinions. I have the ebook right here. I just got back from work, so I'm going to freshen up, chill out, and then dive into this book. I'm scared, I'm a bit nervous, but I'm also very excited. I've been meaning to get to this book for a while now, so I'm happy that I am finally doing that. Hi guys, it's been a couple of days since I started reading this book and since I spoke to you. I got sidetracked by some arcs, but that's okay because I'm here now to give you an update. I am currently 31% into this book. I'm on the chapter called Rune Reader. I have really, really liking this book. It's kind of crazy actually. I'm going to try to explain this world and magic system as best as I can because it's very detailed. There's a lot that goes into it, and I'm very sure that I won't be able to really dissect it all. Basically, this story is centered in the city of Tehran, which is this metropolitan industrial city that is powered by magic. There's also a magical barrier that shields and protects and secludes this city from what we call the blight, which is a deadly phenomenon, I guess, that is ravaging the outside world. So the magic of the city is tightly bound and held by status and power and academia. We have these elite magicians, the high magistry at the University of Magic, who basically run the entire city because they are the ones that control the magic system and run things essentially, and they are led by men. Okay, so men are the only ones that are really allowed to be a part of this high magistry. No woman has ever been a part of it. Every 10 years they give women the opportunity to undergo an examination to see if they can in fact be a part of it, but no woman has ever passed that examination. I wonder why. So we have our female main character Siona, who is a 27-year-old that has trained her entire life to be able to undergo this examination and be a part of the high magistrate. She believes that she will be the woman that will be inducted into the high magistrate. So she passes, they can't believe it, but they really need somebody as powerful and knowledgeable as her. So she is invited and inducted into the high magistrate. She is now a high mage, the first ever woman high mage. She comes to the university to work on a research project that she has been given, and for every high mage that is working on a research project, you get given a research assistant who is also a student in this university that is knowledgeable about the magic and its intricacies. Instead of getting an actual research assistant, though, somebody that actually knows about the magic and all about it, her colleagues play a joke on her where they give her the janitor of this university instead of someone that actually knows what they're doing. And because she's a very proud person, as you will come to see in this book, she goes along with it. She takes this janitor in, accepts him as her research assistant, teaches him the basics, and they start to work together. So this janitor turned research assistant is Tomil. He is a Quen from the outside world, but because of this blight that is, like I said, ravaging the entire outside world, he was able to migrate into the city to look for a better life for himself. I am really, really liking the writing of this book. It is nothing necessarily special. It is not flashy by any means, nothing poetic. It's very to the point, very intentional, hard hitting, and yet still so resonative with me and within the context of the themes that it is tackling. This story is tackling a number of themes like sexism, classism, racism, if you will, discrimination of marginalized communities. The people outside the walls of the city of Tehran are facing systemic discrimination, and male main character Tomil is very much aware of that. We see right from the bat that they don't regard them as real people. The themes in this book are not revolutionary by any means. Okay, the story is not tackling anything that is necessarily new to anybody. We see that even in our present real world, how discrimination is taking place, sexism still, racism. And while this book, like I said, is not like reinventing the wheel or doing anything especially exceptional, it is quite hard hitting and really resonating with me. Just 30% in, I have highlighted so much already, so that goes to show how much I am connecting with the writing of this book. Let's just talk about some of the lines that I have highlighted. So in the first chapter, we have our main character Tomil, and we see him and his family try to evade this blight. We see them basically run for their lives to this city of Tehran, believing it to be a safe haven, hence Bright Haven. And because the title of this book is Blood Over Bright Haven, I believe that we are going to get some reviews that will show us that this city and its rulers and its god is not quite what it is made out to be. Another thing that I really love about the writing of this book is how well the characters are portrayed. They all just feel so vivid, like they feel very real, very flawed, very layered. The male main character Tomio is portrayed as this very meek immigrant who is just trying to make do with the little that this city has to offer him. 10 years after coming into the city, he is still very self-assured, still very much believes in his own gods and his own people. For the sake of amiability, he tries to keep his head low, just keeps quiet, doesn't really interact with many people, doesn't try to get in anybody's way, just so he can survive. Our female main character, Sayona, who was born and raised in this city, is a very interesting and layered character. Okay, she is very much much self-assured. Like I said, she has spent her entire life learning about this magic and working and training to become the best practitioner of this magic. She is very much confident in herself, in her abilities, so incredibly self-assured. And because of that, she has a sense of pride that is not very present in a lot of other women in this city. Women are told in this city to be meek and humble and, nurturers, kind, but she doesn't really see that for herself because she's like, why should I have to be what the men aren't told to be? Why should I have to dumb myself down? Why should I have to be humble when I am just as smart, if not smarter than a lot of my peers? So she is what you would call a feminist, very much in tune with women's rights and fighting for women's rights and for women to have the same opportunities as men, especially in the magistry. And now that she has become the first ever woman high mage, she wants to surpass all her colleagues. She wants to be the best. She wants to be the one that aces this research. And yeah, so while I would not say she's a bad person, I also don't think she's necessarily the best person because yes, she's a feminist, but she's also quite classist. Okay, right off the bat, when she meets our main character Tomil, she doesn't really think of him as a real person. The people of the city see the immigrants from Quen as less than. She also has that same mentality, and when she sees him, she's like looking around for an actual person. And it's like, like I said, though she's not a bad person necessarily, she does have moments where she checks herself. Like in the moment where this joke is played on her by making Tomil her research assistant, where he's basically a nobody, she feels insulted. But then she has this moment of reflection where she's like, she may have been the one the other mages were insulting, but Tommy was the insult. So she's like seeing it for what it really is, that they would use him to play a joke on her is more insulting to him as a human being than her in reality. And then we get this line: she would do more than take a stupid joke. She would grip it tight and fashion it into greatness he couldn't imagine. So I really like that. So her and Tommy will basically start working together and they are beginning to form something of a relationship. I can't lie, a friendship, if you will. I really like their back and forth, their banter. I can't lie, it's giving me romance vibes. I don't know, maybe I'm just doing too much, but I can see a little bit of a budding romance between them, and I am really here for it. These lines that I highlighted, Sayona tells Tomio that he is different, talking to him is different, and he is a man who listened for what she was actually saying, not just for what he wanted to hear. So she is seeing him in a completely different light. Not that she is necessarily warming up to every single Quen person, but she is seeing him as something completely separate from both Quen and her regular people from Tehran. And yeah, it's a very interesting situation. The thing that really made me feel like there could be a romantic situation going on here is this particular paragraph. After working together for the first time, they go out for drinks to basically celebrate, her being a high mage and all that, which is something she has never really done before. And by the end of all that, they're going home. She has had a little bit of alcohol in her system. She's a bit tipsy, blah blah blah. So we get this paragraph. She was unclear on how she ended up on the cot in her office. Trying to figure it out in retrospect, she ran up against two stark impossibilities. First, it was impossible that she had had the balance to make the climb on her own 2 feet. Second, it was impossible that Tomil had picked her up and managed all those stairs with her in his arms. It was impossible too that when her head had fallen against his chest, he had still smelled like sage and fresh water. Like, hello. And that's like in the first few chapters. So, where I am now, there's really nothing romantic that's going on. We have like little brushes and moments, but it's more of a friendship that is building. I am scared though because I feel like we're going to have a conflict of sorts because obviously they're from two very different backgrounds. She's very much reliant on her own belief systems, and he still is very much in tune with his belief systems from where he comes from. So I feel like they are definitely going to clash. They have already had moments where they're like butting heads and arguing about that, and they do like arguing with each other because it kind of sharpens each of them. Iron sharpens iron, that type of thing. And I'm just interested in seeing where exactly we go from here. I wonder how much longer we are going to be, just watching both of them work together in this lab and, how things will take shape from there on. I'm obviously going to keep reading. I think it's very obvious and evident by how I'm speaking that I am really really liking the book so far. I just am really connected with the characters and the writing and the story. It's not the most action packed thing. It's quite slow, I will say, but I'm really liking it. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to go on with it, and I'll see you when I see you. We literally just got like a crazy review. I knew something like that was coming up. It's actually so sad, the knowledge of that, but like it makes so much sense. I love how we are tackling colonization basically, and how people would go to another place and take their culture and turn it into something completely different from what it was, and use it to serve themselves and hurt those people. Like, hello, America. Hi guys, it is yet another couple of days later. Okay, I've kind of, I don't know, been going through it. Anyways, I am now 52% into this book. I have just entered chapter 14 called The Crossing. So yeah, things things have happened. Okay, we have gotten quite a number of reviews that I kind of expected, but also didn't expect to manifest in the way that they did. And I am really, really liking this book. Okay, I really am. I realized that I didn't really explain the magic system of this world. The magic in this world is very intricate, very detailed, very logical, almost like a scientific discipline. And it takes a lot to understand it. It takes a lot to master it. Nobody has ever fully mastered it, but they rely on this founder who founded this whole magic system that apparently was revealed to him by their god, okay, who is in fact referred to as God with a capital letter G. And this founder is called Leon. The magic works by identifying, then siphoning energy from this other realm called the other realm. The mages use these machines that are called spellographs. I'm assuming they're like this typewriter-esque type of machines that you can map out where you want to get your energy from in the other realm, and then perform an action after you have siphoned that energy. So it's a very intricate process, like I've said, very logical, takes a lot of detailing, a lot of mathematics, all of that. Our female main character Siona is very well versed on everything concerning this magic system, these spellographs, spell webbing, mapping. She's pretty much a pro, and now that she has earned her way into this university as a researcher, as a high mage, we have reached a point where she was questioning a lot of things. With the help of our male main character Tomil, we have gotten some reviews that really just turned her world upside down. Okay, basically questioned everything that she has ever known that has to do with her god and this magic. These last few chapters we saw her grapple with the fact that this her god is not quite what the ancestors and the people that have come before her have made him to be. She realizes that the archmages, the people that are basically the rulers of the city, are very much evil, okay, very much unethical. She finds out that the way that this magic works is very harmful and detrimental to the people outside of this city. And she's just like, why would a god that is so kind and all powerful let this happen to humans just like them? This whole situation also begs the question of religion as to where you are born and raised, okay, because it's something that I personally question, something that I find myself wondering about oftentimes as somebody who was raised in the Christian faith. Like, yes, I was born and raised as a Christian, but what about somebody that lives in a completely different place, like Iran or something? I'm just spitballing here. Somebody that lives in a completely different environment, that was born and raised in a completely different religion, culture, everything. I find myself wondering, is that person now going to go to hell when that's literally all they have ever known? I also wonder, how am I even sure that the religion I am practicing is the correct one if I have not being outside or where I am, if I am in a place that mostly practices this particular religion, how would I know? Like, who is to say which one is right, which God is real, which God is wrong? Who's to say, you know, what all of it even means? So it's a very existential type of situation that we have come across here with our main character. She finds that the people that she has relied on and trusted and believed in for the entirety of her life are not good people, because they claim that this magic is for the good of this city, Tehran. But what about, other humans outside of Tehran? How can they just let this thing happen to them for their own good? She figures this thing out and is told by, an archmage to let it go. Okay, stop digging into it, stop thinking about it much, just forget about it. And she finds herself at a crossroads. Like, should I, go along with it, do what everybody else has always done, and ignore the fact that people are literally dying outside of the city because of what we are doing? Or do I do what feels right and good? She still has moments, obviously, where she shows that she's a person born and raised in this city that is very much prejudice inclined, but she is now at a point where she feels like she has to help everybody, even people outside of her city. And she's coming up with a plan to do just that, I'm assuming. A little bit of that decision is fueled by her own personal pride, because, like I said, she's a very proud person, very self confident, that she really does feel like she can save the world herself, which maybe is not the worst thing ever if at the end of the day she does want to do good and what she feels is good and right and just for everybody that is involved. But yeah, like I said, I'm just really enjoying it for what it is, honestly. I'm very much engaged and very much, wondering where we will go from here. A particular line that I really, really resonated with was this line where she is, grappling with the idea of this god giving them a magic that would harm other people that are just not in this city. The line says, because a god great enough to spin these wonders would never allow his mages to take human life. She does come to find out that even if the god himself does not want his mages to take human life, the mages, who are humans, compelled to do human like things, like be evil for some reason, have allowed themselves to do just that. So yeah. I have 3 chapters left of this book. Everything is coming to a head. Okay, Siona has a plan, and I'm very nervous because I've heard that the ending of this book is quite tragic. So I'm definitely very scared as to what exactly her plan is, but I think I can already kind of tell what it would be. And yeah, this is going to be quite sad. I can see that. Let's just quickly finish up these last 3 chapters, okay? I'm nervous, but yeah. The patriarchal hierarchy in this book is literally your typical hierarchy. It's a situation where powerful men, privileged men, just want, less privileged men and women to serve them and do everything for them, basically. And they just see themselves as this higher group of people. And it's like, oh, like, fuck off. It's so annoying, but so real. This question surrounding who gets to say what is true and what is false when it comes to historical facts is something that I have long pondered on, something that I think about quite a lot, actually. And this book is tackling it so intensely, but like tactfully and seamlessly. The thing is that when you realize that history is basically reliant on who tells the most palatable story and how fast that story is able to be spread around, you understand that there's a lot that we don't know about our past and our forefathers. And yeah, yeah, it's sad when powerful people just like twist things around and make things up just to fit their own narrative. It's like really upsetting because there are people that are on the other end of that stick that are suppressed and oppressed, and yeah, that is very evident in this book. Wait, no way. No way. Hello? Finally giving us a kiss 93% into the book. Like, that's so vile. Like, that's kind of wrong. That's so mean of you, especially knowing what is about to happen or what has even already happened. Like, oh my god, bro. I Romeo held Siona's face between his hands, desperate to kiss her again, terrified that if he did, he wouldn't be able to let her go. What is it? She asked. Whatever comes next, Tomil said. However, history remembers High Mage Siona Frenan. I want to remember her this way. Am I going to cry? I think I'm going to cry. That's crazy. Like, it's just crazy how nuanced Tiana as a character is. It's so crazy because she ultimately has a good heart and she wants to help these Quen people who have been oppressed for literal decades, but she also wants glory that she knows that no woman will ever actually be able to get. And she is ready to literally die for both of those things. With her soul in the spiral on its way to hell, Siona's last thought was not of vengeance or legacy, it was of love. That's actually so sad. That's so sad. Like, why is that so sad? Like, that was a great last chapter, it really was. But, like obviously, that was like the only thing that could have happened, right? Like, it's so sad. Like, women and less privileged and marginalized people always be. I don't know why I'm really like connecting to this, but like I'm connected to this on a level that I didn't really expect. I'm done. Yeah. So as you saw, I finished Blood Over Brighthaven by Emma Wong. I took a couple of hours, okay, to put myself together, to stop like crying and overthinking all the things surrounding this book. I am here now to give you my final thoughts, review, and rating of this book. I truly don't think there is much more to be said. I think everything that I have said throughout the course of this video, this vlog, still stands. This book is something of a masterclass in being able to tell a powerful and impactful story where you feel connected to the characters and are still able to understand the themes without insisting on itself, without doing too much with the writing, getting overly poetic and lyrical. I think that this author did a remarkable job in balancing simplicity and depth in a way that is tactful and memorable, at least for me personally. The writing is so straightforward, so clean, so polished, and yet there are multiple lines that resonate long after you have finished reading the book. Some lines that I read and highlighted at the beginning of this book stayed with me throughout my week of reading this book, and I think that's just a very important thing to have as an author. I love how this author tackled the themes of this book: the sexism, the misogyny, the racism, the hatred against marginalized and underprivileged people, and how they are vilified and made to be these evil people, even when they are very obviously not. It's something that I really resonate with, something that I am very passionate about. I really love how much of a complex and layered character Sayona was. She just had a huge ambition, and it's ambition that you never really see in a woman in that world. Okay, women are not expected to be so power hungry, hungry for glory and honor. But we see Sayona really be that ambitious. She's definitely flawed, very much set in her ways, very strong-willed and incorrigible, but in the best ways possible, as she is still able to recognize right from wrong and work towards what she believes is right for the majority of people. The ending was truly quite sad but brutally honest. It genuinely was the only form of retribution, and Fiona understood that very clearly, and she did what she thought was right, but she also did to kind of cement herself as this glorious person, because that is exactly what she is. Yes, this book is a standalone, but I can't lie, I wouldn't be mad if this author decided to do a little novella or a sequel, just trying to let us know what happened at the end of the day with Tomio and the rest of his clan, because I am really very curious. I could probably infer on what happened, but I would like to be given something a little bit more substantial. All in all, I think this was an amazing book. My literal only gripe with this book would be that the first 30-40% was a little bit slow. I saw that a lot of people DNF this book around the 30% mark, and that makes sense because you're kind of just left in this weird space where nothing is really happening. But I think that sets us up for a beautiful story that comes to a head around the 50, 60, 70% mark. And yeah, I just love this book. Honestly, I know it might not be for a lot of people. I can definitely see that. But it really resonated with me. I really resonated with characters, with the story. It impacted me in a way that I did not expect it to. So I know you're probably wondering what my rating for this book would be. The funny thing is that my literal next planned reading vlog was a video of me looking for my first 5-star of 2025. But it looks like that would not be necessary because we have in fact found our first 5-star of 2025. Okay. I was really debating with myself. I was like, is this book a 4-star, a 4.5, or a 5-star? I was even thinking maybe I should rate it something lower than all that because I saw some less than favorable reviews on Goodreads that were trying to influence me. But then I was like, stop. Like, in my heart of hearts, with the way I felt about this book, with the way I connected to it and resonated with it and the characters, like, it's a 5-star. It definitely is not for everybody. I get that, but it was for me. It really was. Maybe in the future I will feel differently and that would be fine. But in this moment, this is a 5-star. I highly recommend this book. I know that I've given a lot of spoilers throughout this video. If you haven't read this book though and you heard literally anything that you liked from this video, just go ahead and pick it up. In any case, we have come to the end of the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you've read this book. If you haven't, if you would like to just talk to me down below. I love reading and replying comments. It's one of my favorite pastimes. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and also follow me on Instagram if you want to be book besties or just besties in general. I would really love and appreciate that. For now, I will see you guys in my next video. Love you. Bye.